Hi, I'm Dave Bach, and this is a CodeSherpa Trail Guide on performance tuning with Apache and Passenger for Rails 3. So I really wasn't planning on recording this screencast, but I've had a few clients in the past few weeks come to me with some performance problems on their website, which also led me to write this article on my blog about tuning MySQL. Well, this isn't so much about MySQL as it is the Passenger and Apache stack on a typical Linux install. And while I couldn't really talk about any of my client specifics, I had a unique opportunity in that we were just launching a new version of the CodeSherpa's website on a new server that we've set up that we're planning on hosting a lot of other client sites on as well for the situations where we do shared hosting. And I had the opportunity to show some of the performance tuning I was doing to a colleague of mine, and he was like, "You have to show this, you have to record this stuff, this is awesome." So I figured I'd do it. This isn't so much scripted, this is just a live command line stuff. I have a few slides to set it up, but it's mostly just off the cuff, and we'll see what happens. Unfortunately, when you're doing performance tuning, there is a lot of testing where you sit and wait for results for several minutes. I'm going to cut that out of the screencast, just so this is not so dull. The server that we're going to be looking at is a typical single server setup. It's got Apache and Passenger and Ruby Enterprise Edition, and the app we're doing is a Rails 3 app. Memcache and MySQL are also running on the same server, and that may come up as we're doing performance tuning, but I'm probably not going to dive too much into any tuning of those tools. So the server we're looking at today is a new server we have set up, aria.codesherpas.com. This is a server we have with Server Beach. It's got 12 gigs of RAM and 2 quad-core processors, so this thing is pretty beefy. The other specs don't really matter so much, except for that 100 megabit Ethernet, which you'll see we're going to, in tuning, run up against that limit several times. And the toolchain that we're going to be using here to test is htperf, htop, iftop, passenger status, and passenger memory stats, which are all just a couple command line tools that we'll go into as I'm using them. The setup here for the hardware is important. We have aria.codesherpas.com, and then we have this is an identical machine called Bally's. It doesn't have to be identical, but it has to be fast enough to saturate the first machine with connections. The two machines are also on a switch. There's nothing in between them, and that switch is the 100 megabit Ethernet. And I'll show you in just a minute that we can actually max that out and run up against that 100 megabit connection, which really is what we want when we're performance tuning. We don't want a bottleneck in the database. We don't want a bottleneck in the Ruby processes. We want to saturate that Ethernet connection. So here's my desktop where we're going to do all the performance tuning. I have over here an instance of Safari with a few tabs ready to go. TextMate with the source code of the app in case we need to delve into that. And over here I have a couple of shells. Here is the top shell, where I have a number of tabs open to already SSH'd into Aria, the server we're going to be dealing with. A local one in case we need to look up any files. And down here is my console where I'm already SSH'd into Bally's. So let's take a look at what we're going to do here. I know the font in this one is small. That's okay, because this is where we're going to take a look at htop. What you're seeing here is the top showing us 16 cores. There's 2 4-core processors in there, so we really have 8 cores, and it shows 16 because of hyperthreading. But we can see that this box is currently not busy at all. The tab down here is showing us the memory that's currently in use. So out of 12 gigs, we're using under 2. So we have tons of memory on this box ready to go. Down here, we're seeing the active processes, and that isn't too exciting at the moment, but it will be. In our next tab, we're going to start up iftop, which is for the Ethernet interface. This is showing us on Ethernet 0. We see my SSH connections in, and there's currently not much traffic going in and out of the box, and we'll see that change too.